For thousands of years, the lands of Westeros have known violence and war, seeing war chiefs, lords, princes, and kings often vying for political power and control of resources. In the face of so much conflict, the houses of Westeros developed a military and political hierarchy based on the feudal traditions of the ancient Andals, which ensured an organized structure for the recruitment of soldiers in the event of war. After the conquest of House Targaryen and the eventual unification of the Seven Kingdoms, this hierarchy evolved to include the king as a central authority in all matters, including the military, allowing him to assemble the armies of Westeros at a single command. Should the ruler deem it necessary to take his people to war, he will call upon his vassal lords, 8 leaders of great houses sworn to administer a large region of the territory, with the borders of their realm often determined by historical precedent. These nobles are sworn to the king, charged with settling local disputes, keeping the peace, and collecting taxes. In the event of war, vassal lords must raise their own forces, as well as call upon the armies of their bannermen. Bannermen are local lords who administer a region within a specific territory on behalf of the king's vassal lord. These bannermen swear oaths of loyalty to the ruler of their realm, settling local disputes, keeping the peace, and collecting taxes. In the event of war, bannermen must raise their own forces as well as call upon the armies of any lesser lords sworn to their service. These lesser lords are charged with the administration of a smaller region within a territory on behalf of their local lord, settling disputes, keeping the peace, and collecting taxes. In the event of war, these lords must organize any knights or soldiers under their command, and on occasion, raise local peasant forces if necessary. Despite these varying levels of responsibility and power among the noble classes, all these men share the rank of lord, and use their position to make as much money as possible from whatever lands are under their control. A portion of the profits are then allocated to raising and maintaining armies and naval fleets. And while costly, the most prominent houses also employ large numbers of knights, lesser nobles who are considered among the greatest soldiers of Westeros. The title of knighthood is bestowed upon a warrior who proves himself before another knight, being granted the title of Sir, often raising the individual to a higher level of respect from both commoners and nobility. Highest among their ranks are landed knights who have been rewarded for their service to a lord, and granted lands with peasants to work the field, and a keep so they might raise their own house. Some landed knights can even rival and surpass the wealth of lesser lords, able to raise and maintain their own armies. However, the rank of knight makes them unable to administer justice, even within their own lands, forced to call upon their local lord for settlement of a dispute. In the event of war, landed knights are sworn to raise their armies and follow their local lord into battle. Then there are sworn swords, knights who have pledged themselves to a single master, and hedge knights, landless warriors with no permanent allegiance, often traveling to tournaments for coin, or else contracting with a local lord and serving in their army for a time. With this political and military hierarchy set in place, each of the 9 territories of the 7 kingdoms are capable of assessing how many soldiers they might be able to produce in a relatively short amount of time, allowing them to plan both defensive and offensive strategies. Starting in the south, there is Dorne, the last realm of Westeros to join the 7 kingdoms, having defeated House Targaryen during the conquest and maintained their independence until joining through a marriage alliance under King Daeron II. They are ruled by House Martell, who keep the title Prince of Dorne in honor of their culture and history. It is believed that the Martells of Dorne are capable of raising 50,000 soldiers to war. Having maintained strong ties of friendship and alliance to House Targaryen over the years, they fought with the loyalist forces of the Targaryen king during Robert's rebellion, seeing Prince Lewin Martell lead 10,000 soldiers alongside Rhaegar Targaryen in the Battle of the Trident. Many years later, following the death of King Robert Baratheon and the outbreak of the War of the Five Kings, Dorne chose neutrality, carefully weighing their options and allowing their rival houses to exhaust their resources fighting each other. Moving to the fertile fields and lush valleys of the Reach, we find one of the most prosperous and wealthy territories of Westeros, capable of raising between 80 and 100,000 soldiers, as well as maintaining naval fleets of up to 200 ships in the Arbor and the Shield Islands. During the conquest of Westeros, House Gardner of the Reach was militarily defeated, and House Tyrell was raised in their place. The Tyrells of the Reach stayed loyal to the Targaryens during Robert's rebellion, with their forces defeating Robert Baratheon in battle and laying siege to Storm's End. When violence again erupted in Westeros during the War of the Five Kings, they initially sided with King Renly Baratheon until he was assassinated, and then formed an alliance with King Joffrey and House Lannister, marrying a daughter of their house to the crown. Journeying into the Westerlands, we find a realm rich in silver and gold mines, the richest territory in the Seven Kingdoms, home to House Lannister, who have ruled from their seat at Casterly Rock for thousands of years. The Westerlands are capable of raising 50,000 soldiers on foot, as well as maintaining a naval fleet outside of Lannisport. While they initially resisted conquest, joining the Reach and raising 55,000 men to defend their lands against Targaryen forces, they were ultimately defeated, bending the knee to Aegon the Conqueror. During Robert's rebellion, they maintained neutrality for most of the war, then joining the rebels as their victory became inevitable. To gain the favor of the future king, the Lannisters led an army into King's Landing and sacked the city, killing the Targaryen king and royal family on behalf of the rebels. They were rewarded for these actions by having a daughter of their house, Cersei Lannister, married to Robert Baratheon. During the War of the Five Kings, the Lannisters defended King Robert's heir, Joffrey Baratheon, eventually allying with the Tyrells of the Reach. Moving east, we enter the Stormlands, once ruled by the mighty Storm Kings of House Durrandon, until the Targaryen conquest of Westeros, when a daughter of their house married Aegon Targaryen's bastard half-brother, Orys Baratheon, establishing House Baratheon. This territory is believed to have the capability of raising 30,000 soldiers, many of who joined the efforts of Lord Robert Baratheon when he rebelled against House Targaryen, defeating them and taking the Iron Throne. After the death of King Robert, the Stormlands were split, with most supporting Robert's youngest brother, Renly Baratheon, until he was assassinated, then switching over to Robert's eldest brother, Stannis Baratheon, the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. Yet after many of their forces were defeated at the Battle of the Blackwater, Stannis and his men traveled north to the Wall, leaving the Stormlands vulnerable to attack, allowing for Aegon Targaryen and the Golden Company to later invade and conquer major areas. The realm of the Crown Lands has existed since the conquest of Aegon Targaryen, reserved as the lands directly administered by the king. For centuries, this region was governed by House Targaryen until their defeat in 287 AC, when House Baratheon added these lands to their territories. It is believed the Crown Lands can raise 10 to 15,000 soldiers, while the Gold Cloaks garrisoned at King's Landing make up 2,000 men. The capital city also hosts a naval fleet of 50 ships, while the island of Dragonstone, which falls under this territory, can raise another 3,000 warriors and 400 knights. During Robert's rebellion, the soldiers of the Crown Lands, King's Landing, and Dragonstone fought for House Targaryen until they were defeated, and their loyalty shifted to House Baratheon. During the War of the Five Kings, the Crown Lands remained loyal to the idea of House Baratheon by siding with King Robert's heir, Joffrey. However, in truth, they became servants of House Lannister, who truly controlled the throne. The island of Dragonstone, however, went with King Stannis Baratheon, since he had been given lordship over the territory many years earlier. In the mountainous realm of the Vale, House Arryn has held power for thousands of years, a prosperous territory protected by their natural fortifications, able to raise 45,000 warriors. The Vale is also home to various independent factions of mountain tribesmen descended from the first men who once ruled Westeros, and who fled into the mountains after their defeat to the Andal invaders, choosing to live as bandits and outlaws rather than kneel to their conquerors. These mountain clans can raise about 3,000 warriors, though they once were more numerous and powerful. During Robert's rebellion, House Arryn, who ruled the Vale, were among the first to rebel, following Robert Baratheon to victory. After the war, the lord of their realm, Jon Arryn, was made Hand of the King. After the death of Jon Arryn, King Robert, and the outbreak of the War of the Five Kings, the Vale chose to remain neutral under Lady Lysa Arryn and her son, Robert Arryn. And while this spared their resources, keeping them strong, while other houses weakened, there are some indications that Lord Protector of the Vale, Peter Baelish, may soon be marching their armies to war. In the Riverlands, House Tully has ruled since Aegon's conquest, when House Hoare was defeated. They appear to be capable of raising 45,000 soldiers, and have often found themselves as a battleground for the various wars of the continent, given their central location connecting so many powerful realms. During Robert's rebellion, they allied with the rebels, establishing an alliance through marriage with the Vale of Arryn and the North. This alliance continued into the War of the Five Kings, which saw them support King Robb Stark until their defeat at the Red Wedding. And while men like the Blackfish continue to fight for the Stark-Tully cause, the Riverlands have been devastated by war, with factions continuing to fight for the territory. Further west, we see the realm of the Iron Islands, where House Greyjoy has ruled since Aegon's conquest, continuing the traditions of their people, focusing on reaving, naval warfare, and worshipping the Drowned God. The Ironborn can raise approximately 20,000 warriors and 500 longships, with the Iron Fleet consisting of 100 ships, 3 times larger than an average longship. They remained neutral during Robert's rebellion, however years later rose up themselves against King Robert in the Greyjoy Rebellion. Yet the Ironborn were soundly defeated by House Baratheon and the royal fleet. During the War of the Five Kings, Balon Greyjoy once again rebelled, declaring himself king of the Isles and North, uniting the islands behind an invasion of the North. However, after some initial success, they found it too difficult to keep the territories they captured, and so retreated to the Iron Islands, where they elected Euron Greyjoy as their king, following the death of his brother Balon. Euron promised an alliance with the Dragon Queen Daenerys Targaryen, and an invasion of the Seven Kingdoms, beginning with raids against the Reach. In the north of Westeros, where the First Men held off the Andal invaders, allowing for First Men blood and traditions to continue, House Stark has ruled from their ancestral home of Winterfell for thousands of years. In order to save his people, the Lord of House Stark knelt before the Targaryen conquerors and so remained as lords of the territory. It is believed they can raise about 45,000 soldiers, including thousands of strong northern cavalry, their equivalent to the Knights of the South. Due to the size of their territory, they are slow in gathering together their forces. But once assembled, the armies of the North are famed for their ferocity and strength. They sided with Robert Baratheon during his rebellion, entering into a marriage alliance with House Tully, creating a friendship that would endure into the War of the Five Kings, when the Riverlands followed King Robb Stark as King of the North and the Trident. Yet House Bolton betrayed the Starks at the Red Wedding and usurped the lordship of their territory. However, the realm continues to be in dispute, with others such as Stannis Baratheon and those still loyal to House Stark disputing their claim. Further north, there is the Night's Watch, men who have taken oaths to guard the wall against anything threatening the southern realms. They are sworn not to participate in the politics of the Seven Kingdoms, and at their height had 10,000 warriors. However, by the time of the War of the Five Kings, their numbers had dwindled to less than 1,000. Beyond the wall, the Free Folk, also known as Wildlings, live independent of the Seven Kingdoms. Descended from the First Men, these people live in small clans, struggling to survive, and are treated as an invading force by the Night's Watch should they attempt to migrate south. This has sometimes led them to unite under a king beyond the wall, to battle the Night's Watch in hopes of taking lands in the south. A special thanks to all those who have contributed to Civilization X. You make these videos possible, and I am eternally grateful for your support. If you would like to help Civilization X and want a say in the future content of this channel, click on the Patreon link in the description box below, and pledge any amount you'd like on a monthly basis. Or if you would prefer to make a single donation, you can use the PayPal link, also in the description below. And please be sure to like and subscribe, and click on the links to see more.